you were an advisor to Bernie Sanders' campaign. Obviously, there's hot takes going
For
around.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I know you were a surrogate too for a
Yep.
bit,
Yep.
but there's hot takes. There's people that are pissed on one end. He's a sellout. He's a this. He's a that. Then you have others who are just disappointed. From my view, it was bottom line. The kryptonite in 2016 and now is that generational divide between older African Americans and younger African Americans. If Bernie would have done even, I don't know, 10% better among black voters, he'd probably be the president.
Right. Right.
What do you think that is? Because I don't, as a white man, want to pretend to or tell older African Americans how they should think. But it seems like because of all these centuries of sin, older black voters are voting more out of survival and low expectations that have been built in. So somebody of a progressive nature that's talking about revolution, it seems like there's a mismatch between the way they think about politics. How do progressives make inroads so that we can start talking the language that maybe some of these older, more conservative black voters could understand and gravitate towards?
So I'm gonna try to keep it short, but I want to break it down. It's hard to do it short.
Yeah, no problem.
So this is what I'll say. So if you've got something, a black person, no matter urban, rural, northern, southern, western, eastern, if you grew up in a time where black people had to cross the street, black people had to keep their heads down, black people were never going to be anything, and as a youngster, you begin to see a movement, and the Civil Rights Movement happens, and the Voting Rights Act happens, and the Civil Rights Act happens, and even still during the 70s and the 80s, we get a black guy at Xerox, and stuff starts to happen and things start to open up. You start to see a lot of progress happen in the country. You begin to feel that the pain that you felt as a youngster has started to wither away, and you now have a family, you now have kids, etc. And your kids, when they're at the assembly, they say, when I grow up, I want to be the first black president. Everybody just laughs and says, that kid is so cute, that'll never happen, but that is so cute. And then 2008 comes around and we elect a black president, and you see your life go from a place where you had to cross the street to now having a black president. You see your life having come potentially full circle. And yeah, you've maybe interacted from a distance, or maybe you were a part of it, but mostly from a distance with the Black Panthers or SNCC or the anti-war movement. But that was a generation before, and the work that you all put in has resulted in this guy, Barack Obama, and you really feel like the country has moved forward. And you have 8 years of Barack Obama without, glossing over a whole bunch, but right after Barack Obama, you have somebody who wins president who reminds you of when you were a little kid and you had to cross the street and you had to look down, and your kids would never be president, and represents everything from your childhood come back full circle, and you're 70, 60, 70 years old, right? And this election comes around and you have a choice between the person who brings those ideas that got you excited before, right? And really, really moved you, and your kids are excited about them. It's great. Against the guy who was standing next to the first black president. And you've got to make a choice between not whether you believe in the values, you believe in the principles, you believe in everything that Senator Sanders is talking about and all those kids are talking about, but whether we're going to beat that boogeyman who represents everything that I used to hate. And to me, I don't know about all. This is a heavy generalization, but I think in this moment, it wasn't a matter of, in my experience, talking to older folks, it wasn't a matter of whether they believed in the values and the principles and the politics that we represented. Their thing seemed to me that they were voting out of wanting to beat the boogeyman and not send someone who, a lot of black people told me, white people are not going to let Bernie Sanders win. White people are not going to let him give black people free college. White people are not going to do that, and so they sent someone. A quick aside in this story, I remember when Obama ran, and a lot of the CBC did not support him. No, but he won in Iowa, and we began to say, a black dude just got voted for by a white dude. all right, we can do it. We can do it. And so in some ways, a little bit of the reverse was happening with Senator Sanders. They were saying, you know what? I don't think they're going to let him. Enough people are going to let him really be able to move, and that Trump is too much of a boogeyman. We've got to send a sure bet, and that sure bet is the guy who hung out with the guy who I know. And so that long story to me begins for me to understand and explain how so many people could frankly not vote with their values and their principles and what they want to see. And we haven't gone into the minutia of maybe some people that wasn't their values, and that's a whole nother conversation. But I think by and large, we black people care about other people. We want to see people do better, and we want to see us do better. And we felt that, they felt that, we felt that it's too much of a risk this time around against somebody who represented an evil that they thought that we had exercised already. Sorry for the long one, but you asked another question: what can we do? And I did a piece for In These Times. I think the left, progressives, the white left, the black left, the collective left, we need to be a consistent, powerful presence in the lives of people. And so we need to be running for local office. We need to be building alternative institutions in cities. They need to see us experimenting and grappling with what it means to govern and what it means to, and by govern, I don't just mean in office. I mean just what it means to be present in the lives of people. And we need to be able to start pointing to models that say, here's the idea, but have you heard of the mayor in Podunk, Georgia, who, sorry to all the people in Podunk, Georgia, but who's building this thing? This is what it looks like. This is how it happens. And here's 70-year-old Carl, who lives in that community, who can tell you, oh, I didn't believe it, and he hasn't done everything, or she hasn't done everything that she talked about, but this is how it looks. And I think we're moving towards that. We're doing it, and we're moving towards that, and we will win other elections and actually begin to win the battle, because we're winning the common sense battle. We're starting to win the common sense battle. Gramsci told us we need a new common sense, but we need to start to show that we can actually govern. And I think that's really important. As a person who I'm not bought into electoral politics as a sole strategy, but people have to trust that we're going to be there and that we're going to grapple with the shit.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com, where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.